Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Noel Zone. This is the Tartar Zone Talks. I hope you're all doing very indeed. And we're here to talk about Jinkx Monsoon, Juno Dawson, and Crystal D. And I never thought I'd be talking about Crystal D again, but here you go. It seems like history is repeating itself, folks. So, as you know, RTD brought back Crystal D to host a podcast with a guy called Tyrell, Juno Dawson, and herself. And if you all remember, during the Jodie Whittaker era, Crystal D was one of the big main voices in support of the destruction of Doctor Who. She came after me and sent her minions after me. She ended up blocking me then. But I blame her and Ben Cook for all the attention that I got over those years. It was because they didn't like my opinions on the cult when it came to children, and they called me the phobic words, which I won't say on YouTube because YouTube are being very fucking picky nowadays, so I have to be careful. So because I spoke up against the cult, they didn't like it. They sent their minions and came after me themselves, but it didn't end well for them anyway, because they ended up being sacked. Anyway, it turns out that she, well, according to herself, I'll put the screenshot up for you. I'm actually prepped today, so there should be no problem putting this screenshot up. It works for the when I do the Irish zone, so we should be okay here. So BBC Studios have gone with a new producer for the ODWP, so it's the Doctor Who podcast, who has chosen some new hosts. I'm sure they will do an amazing job. I was really honoured to take part and had a fantastic time talking to Juno and Tyrell, but it's always great to hear new voices and to love hearts. Listen, the bottom line is this, right? Is Crystal D is not liked, right? She's not. And also our co-host, Juno Dawson, is not liked. And I won't get into why Juno Dawson is not liked, but if you Google Juno Dawson, you'll know why Juno Dawson is not liked. Now, I don't know about the guy Tyrell. According to some people, like he was good. I didn't. I watched a couple of seconds of one podcast one time, and that was enough for me. He seemed a capable host, but they have replaced them again. So she's being replaced. I wrote sacked with a question mark because it sounds very much to me, you know, she said BBC Studios decided. So she had plans to stay, obviously, but BBC Studios decided against it. So in my opinion, it sounds like she was given the old, marching orders, which you can't tell because I can't obviously I don't have the camera on because the camera it causes issues. But I've got a big huge smile on my face right now because this is the second time now she's been given our marching orders, and it feels great because I think she's one of the most divisive voices in the Doctor Who fandom, along with a couple of other people. One bloke in particular as well, you all know, who I won't mention today. But Ben Cook is another one as well. So these voices, to see some of them being like given their P45s to me is great. But they are being replaced, and of course I will be able to show you now who Crystal D and Juno Dawson have been replaced with. And I don't know. I'm going to say this out straight. I don't know who any of these people are. So if anybody knows who they are, you can let me know. So yeah, so your newly regenerated post episode fixes here. Join it's Nadia J and Shazbaz is a Shahbaz says, and a host of guests for the official hashtag Doctor Who podcast every week. So there are your replacements for the podcast. Now, I won't be watching the podcast, of course. I've no interest in any of that crap. You know, when they used to do stuff like this back in the past, it was actually decent. But you know, if these hosts, look, I'll say it this way: if these hosts stick with the topic, stick with Doctor Who, and discuss the episodes, and then don't give their they don't give us their opinions on certain messages, then you know, good luck to them. You know, they can't help if their writing is good or bad. Do you know what I mean? But if BBC Studios brought them in, it's obviously not independent. Remember the show that Crystal D did, the Doctor Who show, right? Whether you like her or dislike her, the one thing that you have to say is that it was independent at one stage. You know, this show won't be independent from BBC Studios. So will these presenters criticise anything? I doubt it very much. But there you go. There are your new hosts that have replaced Juno Dawson and Crystal D. Now, very interestingly, when I was thinking about this, I came up with a possible reason why they'd be replaced, you know. Now, obviously, as I said, I don't think the fandom like Crystal D. And I think Juno Dawson has become problematic because of the recent report in the UK. And I think there will be probably a negative feedback. But in saying that, then the showrunner is actually pushing this message in the show. So I don't know, but I'm actually glad. Look, I'm glad anyway. When I found out those two were hosting a podcast, I actually thought it was wrong, especially the way Crystal D behaved towards fans when Jodie Whittaker came along. And also, as I said, if you Google Juno Dawson, you'll understand why there's so much controversy around Juno Dawson. So, you know, I'm glad they're gone. I have a big smile on my face. And again, I'll say what I said when you were handed your P45 all of those years ago. And what was it, folks? Hashtag good riddance. But this time I wrote hashtag good riddance again. Don't want to see your face again, man, anywhere near Doctor Who. You're an absolute disgrace, you are. Right? You're an absolute disgrace. Just like the showrunner, right? You support a certain cult. You are an absolute disgrace. You should be all ashamed of yourselves. If Doctor Who insults its audience, but no one watches, did it really happen? Well, I mean, it's up to yourself what you think on that one. 16th anniversary specials were the last straw. We've got so she's gone from that again. Oh well, I don't think anybody's gonna lose much sleep. It's funny though. It's funny though. Why you'd bring her back is beyond me. We got a couple of people in the chat as well saying hi, welcome everybody. And of course, as I said, the fandom don't really like the two of them. I don't like her or Cook, both. The word T. Twats. There you go. Fuck it. Twats. These fake fans who are on the payroll. Exactly. And we've seen all this play out again. But very interesting that just before the show they announced that this is happening. As I said, Crystal D left the whole Doctor Who thing because she was going to work in some other place. And then shortly after that, I think it was about a few months later, then start piping up about Doctor Who again. I even warned people, right, that she'd be back, because I was seeing all of these little things and certain people were starting to speak up again. I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then she got announced then to be doing the fucking podcast, like. So, look, she's gone this time. I'm not quite so sure she's gone for good. These people always find a way of warming back in to the fray. So don't be surprised if she pops up. I wouldn't even be surprised if she pops up as one of these guests. Yeah, that's if she's willing to do it. There's no hard feelings. Some people believe that she's a bit butthurt, but I don't know. These people don't seem to have any emotions at all, to be quite honest with you. And you can fail upwards. Remember that. So even if she was kicked, right, she's got to fail upwards anyway, because that's what they do. You never not see the end of these people. They always seem to worm their way back in. So, while we can have a laugh and a smile about it now, I'm pretty sure she'll rear her ugly head somewhere else. So we don't celebrate too much. It was great when she went the first time, because I think a lot of the fandom were relieved, because she was one of the most divisive voices in Doctor Who. Now, some people say when she came back this time, she toned it down and all of this and blah, blah, but the damage was already done. It's too late. You can't come after fans because you believe the Doctor could be a woman, right? And all of this other nonsense. And that there, as Chris said, head mod there, they're never gone for long. And that's the thing, guys. They're never gone for long. They will, though, there was few politics. BBC is a hive mind. Nadia J already works for BBC Radio 1 Extra, as stated in her bio. Well, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's got to be crap. As I said, the podcast, I don't think is really aimed at our age group anyway. You know what I mean? We like to talk about episodes and on forums and all of that, and all in their chats and in their groups and all of that. That's where we'll do that. These podcasts are for the younger fans, or these fake fans that have absolutely no idea or give a crap about the history of the show. It's not aimed at us. So I'm not really bothered. I'm just glad Crystal D is gone. Anyway, let's get on to our next topic, which is Jinkx Monsoon. So Disney have been throwing up some clips. Also, BBC have been throwing up the little teasers with the 2 days to go, the 3 days to go, and all of this. And I have to say, the shooty videos are actually quite funny, and they're actually pretty well done. And they've also been doing little things on BBC as well. But Disney have been, while promoting this series, have been dropping clips. They've actually been dropping clips of the episodes. So there was a clip released of Jinkx Monsoon, and it was put in our chat last night, and I had a look at it. It's a minute long, right? And this was me initial reaction. So I'm going to be honest here with you guys, right? Not going to lie, and anybody that's in me chat will back me up here. This isn't a lie. This is what I said. I said the first 30 seconds of that clip were actually decent until Jinkx Monsoon just totally hams it up and just goes, oh my God, over the top. I mean, it is literally But the first 30 seconds of that actually had a sinister tone to it. And Jinkx looked menacing until the last 30 seconds. And it just descends into this campy nonsense, over the top, bloody fucking, oh man, wait till you see it. I can't see, the thing about it is, can't play it here on YouTube. You know what YouTube is like, right? But I'm pretty sure everybody has seen it because it's been shared over other social media platforms that you can get away with it. But I was looking at that and I was like, Jesus, man, how to ruin a saying, you know, like, first 30 seconds, not bad. Last 30 seconds, absolutely over the top. Listen, you know, the second episode of Devil's Cards, one reviewer gave it 2 out of 5, said it was actually boring. Now, these are all spoiler-free reviews. Remember that. We don't get the spoiler reviews until, like, the episodes drop, and then the journalists will give their honest assessment. Then, you know, they're only going off, you know, what they can throw out right now. But I'm not holding out any hopes for any of these episodes. But as I said, the first 30 seconds of that clip, Jinkx Monsoon, was actually decent. And I'm not going to lie, because you know I don't lie. The last 30 seconds, however, the campiness goes up 100%, and the performance, the exaggerate and slow down the words then, and it's cringe. It actually is cringe, right? It's cringe. Now, as I said to someone in the private chat that we have, if Jinkx Monsoon had kept the same tone at the first 30 seconds throughout that whole clip, that scene would have been decent. You know what I mean? So, and President Lemon is there. I mean, the Jinkx, but it was soft talking, right, with the sense of menace. You felt that in the first 30 seconds, but then it descends into this. It was just over the top. It ruined the whole fucking vibe of the whole scene, in my opinion. But look, it's a minute taken out of context anyway, because this is the way you have to look at it. We haven't seen the full scene. We've seen a minute. So, but judging it on the minute, you get 30 seconds of believing that Jinkx Monsoon is a proper villain and menacing and sinister, and then the last 30 seconds you get, oh, it's a complete circus fucking act. So we have to wait. That's what I say. I'm gonna judge this fairly. You know, I tried to do that with the Jodie Whittaker era, and I think I did succeed, to be quite honest with you. But I'm going to be, you know, as I said, for me, the big thing is the scenes here, the dialogue, analyze RTD, analyze the direction. You know, that's what it is. Personal performances, you know, whether they're good or bad, the whole focus has to be on RTD and his writing. And that, you know, because if it's bad, you know, that's what needs to be highlighted. We've got to stop all of these bloody shills out there defending this piece of shit. And the only way that you can do that is by analysing the writing and showing exactly what's wrong, so they don't have a comeback, right? Forget about ratings and all of that, right? If the ratings nosedive, they nosedive anyway. Disney is still going to flog this anyway for at least 2-3 years. So, you know what I mean? That's irrelevant as well, right? It's the writing, the direction, the dialogue. That's what's important. Personal performances are not really the issue here. When you're analysing this new series of Doctor Who, you've got to deconstruct RTD's writing. That should be the focus. This is where, if it turns out to be bad, and then we have to we obviously come out and we tell the fans we're going to get some pushback, but this is how we stop getting all of that pushback, because they won't be able to come back at us if we deconstruct everything that he's done and show the flaws, right? We show the flaws. They haven't nothing to come back with. They've absolutely nothing to come back with this time, and their arguments will fall on deaf ears. We play this differently this time. I'm telling you, we'll win a lot more of these people over this time than we did the last time, right? A lot of them actually agreed with us. Remember that. The only problem was is that the shills out there kept calling us names and kept sending their bleeding personal supporters after us and making us look bad, right? Or trying to make us look bad, trying to make us out to be the bullies. This time now, we actually do it right. We analyse everything RTD does, right, with this show and show the flaws. And we show the flaws, it's game over. It's going to be bad. No worries on that. I mean, I do agree. I think it's going to be a train wreck, but there could be a possibility, and I'm not going to totally dismiss it. There could be a possibility that we could get something decent. Remember, the first 2 episodes are RTD episodes, but the 3rd episode is Stephen Moffat's, and I am actually intrigued by that one. I have to be honest. I'm actually intrigued by the Moffat episode. And I think, I did say this though, Lindsay, didn't I say that the best episode of this whole entire season is probably going to be the Stephen Moffat one? Now, I'd be surprised if that's not the case. Now, I will be, and I think a lot of people will be. But, it's... Yeah, while I think it's going to be a train wreck, this whole thing is fascinating. It's fascinating. I don't have the same level of anger or anything I had during the Whittaker era. I'm actually very relaxed. Like, tomorrow was a big night. I'm actually very relaxed. I'm kind of looking forward to doing what I have to do. But I am curious. There's a curiosity there. I don't know where it's coming from, but there's a curiosity to see how good or bad this is. And I'm going to watch it. And I'll watch the 2nd season as well. So, guys, look, when I set this channel up, 7 years now, we've been at this nearly, right? What did I tell you from day one? I was in for the long haul, right? Just because the show's not going well now, right? I'm not going to abandon Doctor Who. I'm not. It's not in my DNA, and you know I won't do that. I've tried to walk away, right? And rather than fight it and force myself, I'm just going to fucking embrace whatever happens here, and I'm going to enjoy the ride. And if the show turns out to be a train wreck, right, I will have plenty of content to do. I'll have plenty of content to put out there, and we'll have fun while we're doing it, right? If we get a show that's not actually bad, well, then we can look to the future with a little bit more optimism and a little bit more hope than we had before. So either way, for me, this is a win-win situation, right? It's a win-win. So I think you can even hear it in my voice. I'm totally relaxed. This is I actually can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited because I know what I'm doing. This is where you know I'm in my element. When a new season comes along, I'm in my element here. So I'm excited for this. No matter what it brings, I know I'm going to have fun with people doing it. I'm going to have fun doing my own streams and my own watch alongs and then doing the panels. But I'm going to have fun. And of course, I might have the odd rant or two, but that's just me. But I'll do it because I'm not walking away. I've finally realised to myself, instead of trying to force myself to walk away, there's no point. I love this show too much. My line is, I do want what's best for it. I know right now it's not going through the greatest period, like in the 80s. It's not going through its greatest period. But the bottom line is that, you know, I'll keep going because I'm a fan. And when the show ends, it ends. That's it. And we'll keep talking. We'll keep talking Doctor Who. There'll be plenty of the past to enjoy. So you know what I mean? Look, I told you from day one I'd be here for the long haul, and I wasn't lying. I'm still here, even after loads of people, and you were probably right. I should have walked away a long time ago. But I'm not going to. I can finally admit that I'm not going to, and I don't want to anyway, right? Because even if the show is good or bad, right, I'm still going to enjoy myself and then enjoy doing the panels with the people that I enjoy doing the panels with, and keep doing the streams that I enjoy doing, right? And that's what's important. That's what's important. And you guys in the chat and the people that have subscribed to this channel, that's why we do it now. Right? So it's irrelevant whether the show is good or bad. You know what? At the end of the day, as a Doctor Who fan, my dream scenario is that when the first 2 episodes drop, we're absolutely gobsmacked, and the critics have been unfair, and it's been absolutely brilliant. But in reality, the situation is it's probably a lot worse than what the critics have said how good it is. And that'll just be it. That's just the way it is. And, you know, if that's it, then fair enough. I'm not going to get upset about it anymore. There's no, you know what I mean? I'll just review, as I said, we will absolutely dissect everything that RTD has done. Anyway, let's see. We've got more chats in the, more people in the chat as well. Matt is saying he's trying to avoid the clips, but I'm not surprised. Yeah, you see again, some people, which, look, I did it for the last Jodie Whittaker season, and the one before that. Actually, Series 11, I didn't watch a lot of reviews, and then I said after that I was going away. But this time, yeah, I've seen some clips. And I've read some of the reviews, but to me, it doesn't make a difference because I don't trust the critics anyway. So whatever they write, I just take with a pinch of salt. I'll go in with an open mind anyway. I'm not going to be influenced. As I said, I saw that Jinkx Monsoon clip, and as I said, the first 30 seconds were actually pretty decent. The last 30 seconds where it absolutely falls apart. But in saying that, it's a clip taken out of context. So, you know, we have to wait until we see the whole lot of it. But it's not going to influence me in any way. You know, the bottom line is I'll go into this with an open mind, and I want to be surprised, and I want to be pleasantly surprised, and I hope I am. And if I'm not, then fair enough. President Lemon didn't like the clip, so made him throw up. I hope you didn't throw up your lemonade now. That would have been a bit sad now. Robert doesn't like Jinkx Monsoon. I think there's a lot of people that don't, especially after they saw that podcast where they were talking about their sex life, you know. So, you know, it's, look, there's already some stuff that fans are not happy with. So it was always going to be a struggle for RTD to deliver, really. So Look, not long to go now. Not long to go. Now, if you're obviously, my goal is to try and do a double watch along on the night that it drops, which is tomorrow. That's the plan. So look out Saturday, because I can't verify right now whether that is the case or not. But the plan is to do the first 2 episodes, watch along, do a watch along reaction, and then to give me a review. And that'll be the first one out of the way, and then we'll have the panel review on Wednesday from the panel. They'll be giving you their thoughts on it. Remember, the panel now, PD, Queen Charlotte, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch are joining us for our weekly panels. And we may have some special guests along the way, and not making any promises. As you know, we do try to get 1 or 2 special guests on, maybe people that haven't been on the channel in a long time, and all of that, to come on and guest on a stream or 2. So look out. Yeah, Boom is the Moffat episode, yes. President Lemon is both interested in Boom and 73 Yards. And the plot for the Moffat episode sounds interesting, says Darren. Do agree. Robert Even. Yeah, see, everybody is curious about the Moffat episode, because it's been a long time since he's written for Doctor Who. A lot of us did believe he got a bit burnt out near the end. And you know, look, he gets a lot of stick. He got a lot of stick off me because I thought he was pushing all of this nonsense. But it turned out that was the BBC that was pushing it. And he tried to stop as much as possible. There was even worse things supposed to be put into his era, and he was having none of it, right? And the only reason why that happened was because his first season with Matt Smith was so popular, and it was the time coming up to the Doctor Who anniversary as well. Remember that, the 50th, and he had a lot of power, so he was literally like, he could stop certain things. He gets a lot of stick. Even I gave him stick, which was wrong. Yeah, I think everybody is interested in the Stephen Moffat one. I hope he comes back and it's a cracking episode. I really do. You know what? If I get one episode of Doctor Who, to me, that feels like Doctor Who, you know, with the current state of the show, I'll take that, but I'll obviously then give out about RTD and say, you know, you need to go. We need a sci-fi writer. And I wouldn't take Moffat back, though. I know at one stage, a few months back, I did say that I'd probably take Moffat over RTD. I can categorically say now that I've changed my mind. I don't want any of these fanboys back, to be quite honest with you. I'm sick and tired of them. It's actually time that if BBC do go again with this, which I doubt, but if they did, my advice to BBC is get someone in that has worked on sci-fi before this time. Okay? Proper sci-fi writers to run the show. Matt will be watching. Just like myself. Super John is in the chat as well. That's real Super Doctor. He had to set up a new account, so if you just want to go and follow him there. I don't know if he has any stuff up on his YouTube channel, but if you just want to go and support him, you may do. Since I'm starting to comment on social media, I'm going to be careful not to try and engage with any toxic fans. Well, I won't be engaging with any of the left this year. They can come after me all they want. They can call me all the names all they want. I've heard it all before. I'm not going to be listening to them. To be quite honest with you, I've got better and bigger fish to fry. These little morons need to understand that people have different opinions. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? I hate the society that we're living in today, that you can't have different opinions. You can't be an individual. You have to be part of a collective or a hive mind. And I'm sorry, you'll never get me to be in the hive mind. I'm my own individual. I have my own opinions, my own thoughts, right? You know what I mean? And nobody's going to try to take that away from me. And I mean that. Nobody is taking my freedom of speech away from me, or my opinions, or my thoughts. If you don't like it, don't listen to me. I don't know why that's so hard for all of these lefties. Like, if you don't like the content I put out, or you don't like my opinions on Doctor Who, well then don't watch me, because you guys actually choose to watch me. Right? Oh, and by the way, just the thank yous ahead, you know, the thank yous ahead. Thank you for tuning in to all my reviews this season, because I know you'll be tuning in to hear what I have to say. Sure, I've already received threats off some of yous, but you think that's going to stop me? If this show is a pile of crap, I'm going to call it a pile of crap. If this show is decent, I will say the show is decent. Right? That's the way. I'm a straight shooter. I'm not like some people, shill YouTubers out there that praised RTD or praised Chris Chibnall to the hilt and praised Jodie Whittaker and waited until they were gone then to finally admit that they had problems with the Chris Chibnall era, but they didn't want to say anything at the time because they didn't want to be, as they quoted, a toxic fan. No, I will always come out and tell you out straight. I'm a straight shooter. These people out here, the shill ones, they will not be giving you a proper review of the episode, right? It will be skewed beyond belief, right? And it'll only be after a few years when they actually have a bit of backbone to say something, they will say something. See, this is the thing. A lot of these shill fans that do reviews are in with the production team and get their little goodies and have sold their soul to sell out this show and its fandom. So no, I won't be wasting my time with them, but they certainly be wasting their time with me and driving traffic to my channel. So that's why I'm thanking them now, because I won't be acknowledging you after this. So thank you for all the traffic you're going to send to my channel. I really do appreciate it every season that Doctor Who comes around. It's like a broken record player now at this stage. You really need to come up with new tactics, you know. Funny thing is, I said I'd debate you all, but none of you want to debate me because you're all chicken shit anyway. Plus, let me say, plus off the show, and there'll probably be a fan films still. Well, the fan stuff is gonna eventually, especially with the advent of AI, the fan stuff is gonna outperform the main stuff. It really is. It really is. In a couple of years' time, Doctor Who fandom, a lot of the Doctor Who fandom will be using AI to create their own stories, and they'll be far superior than anything Doctor Who Disney throws out. I don't want the show to end. It looks like it's heading that way. The McCoy era was a hit and miss, but I stuck to it like glue. That's it, and that's what I'll do. If Doctor Who goes down sinking, I'm going down with it. I don't care. I don't actually mind. It's the least I could say. I stayed all the way, you know, and I gave me opinions, and you know, I created a community. So, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I don't mind going down with this Titanic. So, there you go. There's a nice little reference. Yeah, they contracted. There will be Daleks in Doctor Who, because apparently they were trying to wasn't there. I think they were trying to negotiate something with it. They may have changed the terms now, but I'm pretty sure there'll be Daleks in Doctor Who. Come on, they can't come up with that now, and especially if this show hits the rocks, right? Season 2, you'll definitely have your Daleks. You'll have your Daleks. You'll have your Cybermen, and you'll probably have some older villains return as well, right? In desperation, and there doesn't need to be desperation there. See, I just I don't like the fact that RTD is writing all the episodes. Look, this is the way I would have been. I would have been happy if RTD came in as showrunner, but actually brought in sci-fi writers to help him. But the fact that he's writing most of these episodes himself, this is just an ego thing for him. And I don't think, he writes other stuff very well, right? And in 2005, as I said, the way he produced and put out Doctor Who worked for that time. But now, sci-fi has become a very big thing and it's being diluted all the time. Right? It's becoming like every other show out there. Sci-fi has to stay pure. So it needs to go back to its roots, Doctor Who. Needs to go back to its roots. And if it doesn't, then, well, I'm going down with that sinking ship. So it's as simple as that. Look, I don't mind. Look, this show has done so much for me. As I said, I was going through a rough period in my life. I wouldn't be here talking to you today if it wasn't for the show. So look, if it goes down, I'll go down with it. But the bottom line is that, while it's going down, I'm going to have a bit of fun while it's sinking. And that's it. The bottom line is, right, I love this show. I don't know. I've said it countless times. I don't think people realize how much this show, and it is only a TV show, right? Fair enough, but it's a TV show that's had a huge impact on my life, and I'm not going to lie, and it will be sad. I'm not going to say, I won't get emotional when it's finally gone. Of course I will. Everybody will, I think. Even the ones that hate it right now, that don't want to look at it, don't want that to do with it. When the show finally does go away, there will be sadness there. The fandom will mourn, right? The true fandom, the true fans will mourn this show, right? It's been around a long, long time, right? If you're my age, my father was a fan. So that's how long it's been around. So few generations are going to be mourning this show when it finally goes. So, we've got plenty of time for that, is really what I'm trying to say. So I could sit here all season and get upset and emotional of how bad it is, but there's no point, because there will come a time where, when the show does end, then I can, like a lot of the fandom, we can reminisce, talk about our favorite episodes when we've recovered. Obviously, there'll be a period where none of us will feel like talking about Doctor Who and stuff like that, and that's just natural. I began watching it in 1978 when I discovered it playing on my local PBS station on Saturday afternoon. It was Tom Baker and the Pyramids of Mars. Chris Ballstreck was the same. He watched it on PBS. And it's funny that you bring up Pyramids of Mars, because I was telling this story just the other day. That's the story for me that actually, you know, introduced me to Doctor Who. It's one of my personal favorites. And I actually have it on. Just remember UK TV Gold? Well, I have a DVD. Remember you used to be able to do the DVD burning and stuff. Well, I have that episode. I have the ads. Right, I've got the whole story with the ads. So the whole lot is on a disc with all the ads, like that were around at the time. UK TV Gold, when they had it on that. I have the original disc. Now I have the story on the proper disc, obviously, but I never got rid of that copy. I still have that copy to this day, and I got that copy in the very early days of DVDs. So this is a real old copy, and guess what? It still works. It still bloody works. You know, when I was a kid, I had a wild imagination, you know, and Doctor Who was the one. Like Star Trek as well. Like I was introduced to Star Trek as well. Me dad again. Me dad and me mum. You know, my genres that I love: movies and TV shows, horrors and sci-fi and thrillers and stuff. That's all I got to do with me man and dad. Like, right, my mum loved her horror, so did me dad, but they loved their sci-fi as well. I mean, like, absolutely loved it. Like, so Lost in Space was playing in our household. Star Trek: The Next Generation, the original series. You know, as I said, Doctor Who. Like, it's mad, but Doctor Who was the one for me because it was different to the rest of them. Because, in fairness, when I was a kid, I was a bit different to everybody else. You know, so for some weird reason, I think the two of us gravitated. I gravitated towards Doctor Who. See, these are the things that this shows. See what I mean? Everybody's telling that everybody is in there now with our little stories as well. You know, we all have a story. You know, we've got that history, right? These newer fans will never understand. They'll never understand why we are so annoyed and so upset with what's happening to the show. They'll never get it. They'll never have the attachment that we had. Or with some people, they shared that experience of Doctor Who with someone else that was in their lives that may no longer be here. And they've got all of those memories, right? They can't take that away from you, and they never will. Remember that. Everybody has their personal stories, and those personal stories will always be your stories. They can't take that away from you. And my theory, RTD has two doctors planned, 14 and 15. One was a black woman, and one in a wheelchair, introduced in Rose novelisation before the time these children. John Martin's doctor. I don't know about that, but that's an interesting theory. I was a young lad in the early 80s. Peter Davison was my doctor as well. But as I said, it was Tom Baker's episode that actually introduced me into Doctor Who. And then I went back and stuff years later then to watch the other eras. But Peter obviously was my doctor growing up. But Tom Baker, you could still watch a lot of Tom Baker's and even some Pertwee episodes on UK TV. So That wasn't too bad. Just missed out on Tom Baker era, but it's good now that we can go back and see previous Doctors on screen due to technology. I still got all my videos. My dad got me into Doctor Who. He loved Blake 7, says Lindsay. See, everybody has a story. I wouldn't be wearing a scarf to this day or go around saying things like, would you like a jelly baby to complete strangers if not for Doctor Who? You know, and that's what I mean. But people see you do that, right? Even the people know that's the thing. Doctor Who is so known that people would know what that was, and it's great. You see, things like that are great, you know. No, well, RTD, I will get into it, but RTD has confirmed that David Tennant is actually finished with Doctor Who and has retired. But again, you can't trust what RTD says. I'm pretty sure if the show's ratings go down the tubes, they'll drag David Tennant out of retirement. My uncle got me into it. I have very faint memories of watching an Attack of the Cybermen on UK Gold in 1999, aged 4, and then became a fan properly in 2005, and that's from Scottish Davros. My family were EU Star Wars fans, and my grandfather introduced me to Star Trek. I found Doctor Who on my own. It was mine. That's nice. That's nice. Could you two please help me? I spy Genesis of the Daleks. My favorite classic series episode. Genesis is up there. Look, I'm not saying that Pyramids of Mars is better. It just, for me, that was the episode or the story. So it has I have a personal soft spot for it. And you know, we've been talking about bringing back Doctor Who villains, and one of the villains I've always championed to bring back was Zootek. You know, but I do agree with you. Genesis is definitely up there, and it's brilliant. Inferno is another one as well. I say is up there. Absolutely fantastic. I'm able to learn more of the Doctor's past incarnations through UK Gold every Sunday morning. That made my weekend. The Rose novelisation came out in 2018. John Martin was introduced in 2020. Also, the two Doctors have illustrations in the novel. Seeing the repeats of An Unearthly Child way back in 1992 on UK Gold. That was a great station. That was an absolutely cracking station. You could watch, if I remember correctly, you could also watch Faulty Towers on it. You could watch what was it? Last of the Summer Wine. All Creatures Great and Small. Like, you could literally watch everything on it. Great little channel it was. Great little channel. Do you remember when Skyforce came out? It was actually great. It was brilliant. Like, all right, fair enough. You had 500 movie channels that you didn't even fucking need. To be quite honest with you, that most of them were a waste of time. But the old UK channels, you know, and the music. Do you remember the music channels you used to have a selection of as well? Do you remember? You'd have tons of them. I don't have a Skybox now. I don't have any of that in my house. Got rid of it all. Super John used to watch Neighbours. I think I watched a few episodes of that years ago. And Home and Away, isn't that the other one? Dallas, yeah. I actually went on a bit of a binge watch of Dallas recently. I I tell you, that was really dramatic TV back in the day. All the backstabbing as well was fucking great, man. Oh, man, we grew up, man, we love all of that stuff, though, the backstabbing. That's why I think the show on BBC, The Traitors, has done so well, because of all the backstabbing. I think us as people, as humans, we like a bit of backstabbing, don't we? Do you want to get down, buddy? Okay, come here. You want? Oh, there you go. Go on over to the fan. Go on. Go on. Get some fresh air. Back in the 80s, there was a super channel which regular runs of Tom's episodes, says Darren. Classic Neighbours. Best TV with Dallas, the Colbys. Falcon Crest. I remember Falcon Crest, yeah. I loved it, says Super John. There was Dynasty, wasn't it Dynasty or Dynasty, whatever it was, Dynasty we say. Yeah, that was out as well. That was a bit like also a bit like Dallas, all of that backstabbing. Always gorgeous looking women in it as well, wasn't there? Dream Team. Now listen, right. So Sky One did this football show years ago, right? It was a drama called Dream Team, right? And I was absolutely addicted to it, right? Now, Daniel knows exactly what I'm talking about because he's at the writing it up there. But there was backstabbing in that and all this, right? But it was based on a fictional football team. And I'm not telling you a word of a lie. At the end of one of the season finales, right, they kill off the whole team. And I'm devastated. I'm literally sitting there, right, and me mouth. Dream Team was brilliant. But you know what? I've tried to find it, right? I've tried everywhere, right? The show is so fucking old, right, that every copy that I found of these episodes, and I can't even find all the episodes, right? They're so bad. It's just a pity. That show, I'm not messing, that show was fucking brilliant for a football team. And, you know, they even play in the Champions League. There's a bit of match fixing going on and all of this. Like, it was a proper, real gritty drama, but about a football team called Dream Team. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was brilliant, man. It was brilliant. Oh. And a few people that were on that show either ended up on Coronation Street or East Enders. So, you know, it was actually a platform for a lot of people that went on to do stuff in the industry later on. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't shitty. It was actually very good. And then for some weird reason, Sky have never done anything with it or even tried to, you know, clean or repeat it, which kind of pisses me off. You know, they should have a Sky Classics channel, Sky One Classics channel, and throw up all of their old classic shows, like the Fear Factor with Joe Rogan. Remember the Fear Factor and all back in the day, right? You had Brainiac as well. All of those quirky little shows that Sky One used to do, right? Put them on a classic fucking channel. Seriously, that show was bleeding brilliant. Prisoner Cell Block H, the original, absolutely. Absolutely. And Daniel agrees with me, great show. Some amazing acting and scripts. The Old Bill as well. The Old Bill on ITV. Jesus Christ, the acting in that was phenomenal. Phenomenal. That Old Bill, and I'm talking about Old Bill. Remember when they jazzed it all up? It got a bit shit. But I used to watch the Bill all the time. And the Old Bill was brilliant. Taggart as well. A Touch of Frost. Inspector Morse. Oh, geez, we were spoiled even with TV, but with loads of detective shows. Long live Tosh, says President Lemon. The original bill, exactly the original bill. The equalizer as well. Yes, yes. Jesus, man. When you think about it, and then you had your light-hearted shows, Last of the Summer Wine, you know, shows like that. You had Keeping Up Appearances, One Foot in the Grave, you know, and then you had other shows like All Creatures Great and Small, and that was that show though. That show was fucking devastating when you were a kid watching that All Creatures Great and Small. But I loved it. I loved it. And then you had Irish stuff here as well, which you wouldn't know, obviously, that we grew up with here. But it was, in fairness, though, I suppose it was mostly, you know, the television across the water we were watching. I mean, RTE did produce some good shows over the years, I'm not going to lie. There was this crime drama called Love Hate, but again, the first few, for me, I always say this about Love Hate, it's probably one of the most critically acclaimed series produced in the country. But there's been other shows as well that have been critically acclaimed. But the last few seasons of that, I always said that the quality of that show dipped after season 2, and it was on a slow decline after that. And you can see it's definitely evident. There was another show years ago that they did as well. I think it was called Cold Blooded. And it was about corruption with the Irish government in relation to the immigrants being smuggled over into the country. It's actually very interesting because that show is very hard to find as well, right? I did find it on one app, but it's very interesting that you have to dig to look for that, because if you watch that show now, it's actually echoing what's happening in this country today. And I think it was called Cold Blooded or something like that. I'll find the name of it. Right, when I get the name, I'll let you know. But it was an RTE produced series as well. Dublin looked great at night time and all flashy and stuff. But the fourth series was about the migrants and this fella running in Ireland to become the next Taoiseach, and his party is heavily involved in all of this corruption and stuff. Oh, it's bleeding deadly. Walking with Dinosaur. Robot Wars I used to watch. I used to tune in. Crystal Maze as well. Crystal Maze. Loved that as well. You know, blockbusters. Growing up as a kid as well. We did watch a lot of UK TV, got to be honest. Generation Game, Player Cards, right? I mean, look at, we were spoiled with TV. You look at TV Catchphrase, yeah, that was brilliant as well. Blockbusters was another one. I actually watched a couple of old episodes of Blockbusters, right? And I was like, oh my God, the TV shows that they do today, the quiz shows and all, they're shy. They're shy compared to what we had. Like, it's like as if all the new shows are being dumbed down, like. And back then you had to really think. Do you know what I mean? You had to use your head. Yeah, Roy Walker. Yes, Roy Walker's catchphrase. I know they redid it. In fairness, the new version is not bad. But what made catchphrase was because of Roy Walker. And you know, it does be nice to see these shows come back sometimes, but you know, you're never going to recapture because of the host, the magic, because of the host was different and special. You know, you had Strike It Lucky as well, and then it was rebranded Strike It Rich or something, and then you had what was it, Stars in Your Eyes as well. You had that. You had Noel's House Party growing up as well, Mr. Blobby and all of that. I mean, we were spoiled. And maybe we are a little bit self-entitled that we expect the industry. But in fairness, though, that was the 80s and the 90s, and they're producing great television. Logically, you would think that the industry would get better and not worse. Well, there you go. Maybe I'm expecting too much, but that's what I mean. Yeah, Roy's humour made it. Same with Bullseye. Right, I was watching a clip of Bullseye where he's fucking he's questioning some fucking lady, and he brings up our weight, our dress, and something about our weight, right? And everybody was like, we were all laughing because we grew up with that and we didn't see anything wrong with that. She even laughed it off as well. But imagine if a host of Bullseye did that today and mentioned something about woman's weight, right? Or working in the kitchen. What do you do at home? Like, oh, do you work or you stay at home? Like, you'd be bleeding cancelled, you would. Big right, okay. I will say this. The advent of reality TV destroyed TV, right? It actually did, right? I'm not going to lie. But the first 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons of Big Brother are the purest because they didn't do gimmicks back then. It was a proper social experiment with the first few seasons, right? After that, then I'll agree with you. It turns into a mess and descends into fucking stupidity, right? And then it spawned the age of reality TV. Now, I did like Dirty Sanchez. A lot of people loved Jackass, but I hated Jackass. But I loved Dirty Sanchez, right? So some reality show, I like those type of reality shows where people were hurting themselves. Even now when I look back and say, oh my God, I was actually a fan of that, right? I actually find it cringe now that I was actually a fan of it. But I was a fan of Dirty Sanchez. I did like that, right? I did like the fact that like, to me, they were more extreme than Jackass, right? So I did like some reality TV. I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and say, oh yeah, I hate reality TV. But I will agree that reality TV had a negative impact on society. Actually, I'd even go as far as to say that reality TV was the precursor to what we have now with all of the social media stars. That 15 minutes of fame. So yes, reality TV can take responsibility for that. I love Jackass. I did love Pimp My Ride, but Pimp My Ride was fake. I went back and watched all of those episodes, and then I've read the stories, because what happened with this, that some people actually totaled their car after the first day of receiving the car back. Some found that the jobs that were actually done on their cars weren't great, and some even found out that the car that they thought was their car was actually a different car altogether. No, it was a same brand of car, but it wasn't their car because their car was so badly rusted that they couldn't actually do that with it. So they used a similar fucking car and then passed it off as his car. So, even though, and I do agree with you, I loved Exhibit. I even watched the UK version of Pimp My Ride. But they were, but when you look back, they were the good days, though. Do you know what I mean? Everything was so much simpler back then. Homes Under. Yeah, I did watch some of those programs as well. I used to watch the Antiques Roadshow. Then that went all shit. But I used to watch all those other afternoon shows that they did. What was the one on BBC Two? Flogger, was it, or something like that? Yeah, I used to watch them. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I used to watch actually Noel Edmonds' Deal or No Deal as well. I was a bit of a fan of that, got to say. I loved the whole lot of that. I know some people found that boring, but I found the whole lot of that fascinating. 3, 2, 1, Ted Rogers. Homes Under the Hammer. But some of the stuff they did was pure funny. Remember Balls of Steel, The Annoying Devil, Noel's House Party. Yeah, we mentioned Noel's House Party. Yeah, that was the big thing on a Saturday night, though. The Gadget Show on Channel 5. Never watched it, mate. I've got to be honest. Channel 5 was... Actually, the interesting thing about Channel 5 was when we got Sky over here, you had to manually tune in Channel 5. And a lot of Irish households just didn't bother. And we were one of them. Until later on, actually, we found out that there was that extra channels for us to get. And then we'd get them. But isn't that the home? I don't know if that's the home of Big Brother now, isn't it? Anyone watching Eurovision tomorrow? The Irish song is very way out. Well, don't, please. Listen, I need to speak to you guys in the UK right now. Listen to me, right? What the way it normally happens is sometimes we give you as our vote, right? We vote for the British song, but Ollie Alexander's song is shit as well, right? But do us a favour, don't vote for Ireland in the Eurovision this year, okay? We beg yous not to vote for Ireland in this year's Eurovision. If you could give the vote to a song that's worthy, another song that's worthy, please do that. But don't give us the vote, okay? We don't want that lunatic witch, Satanist, winning fucking Eurovision. She doesn't represent us. Sure, she lives in the UK anyway, right? She is Irish, but she lives in the UK. She left to live in the UK. She's only using us because it's convenient, because maybe the Brits didn't want her, right? And by looking at her, I can understand why you wouldn't want her, right? So vote for someone fucking else. Do not vote for Bambi Tug, right? Vote for someone else. If people are watching the Eurovision, vote for someone else. Phone Jacker. Someone brought up Phone Jacker. Phone Jacker was probably one of the best ones, though. Let's be honest. That show was funny. I mean, you know, it's actually funny that you bring that up, President Lemon, because the other day I've only watched Only Fools and Horses, right? So I was going to whack on. I had Little Britain there. I was going to whack that on. But then I was thinking about watching Phone Jacker, believe it or not. And now that you've brought it up again, I think I might actually go and watch a bit of Phone Jacker, because that was funny. That's fucking hilarious. Trigger happy, says Lindsay. Telly Addicts and the Grumbleweeds. I remember Telly Addicts, all right. Crossed with Tom O'Connor. Probably watched it, but can't remember. Lenny's Lucky Ladders. The Russ Abbott Show and Benny Hill. Yes, watched both. Especially the Russ Abbott Show. We were huge fans of that show. And in Ireland, we watched Glenroe, which was the big soap here. But we loved Glenroe. Glenroe was great. We also had School Around the Corner growing up as well. We had Where in the World, which was a quiz show. So we had our own little shows here as well. I wanted to mention them as well, just in case everybody thinks that I did watch some Irish shows. Of course I did. I grew up in Ireland. I even watched fucking Bosco, for God's sake. And I used to love Bosco because I did find Bosco educational. I really did. Loved it. I even used to love on RTE. They do the Safe Cross Code with the dog. They do the whole song and you'd sing along with it on the telly, man. I remember all of that. My memory is not that bad. I can still remember certain things. I had Deal or No Deal board game back in the day. I was super fan back in the day of Deal or No Deal. The Wombles. In-Betweeners and Friday Night Dinner were great too. Got to be honest, I wasn't really a fan of those shows. But I have. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't watched them. Of course, I have. But they weren't really my favorite. But you know, Channel 4, E4, especially E4, they did pump out some great shows back in the day. I did love watching what you call it, what's it? Oh man. It was The Misfits. Great show. Well, Misfits, I should say. When I say great show, the first few seasons were, and again, a certain producer which joined Chris Chibnall joined Misfits, and then the actual quality of the series dipped. So what does that tell you? So we won't get into that because, you know. Porridge, yes. Porridge as well. We almost forgot that one. Yeah, you're right. What you call it? I can never say it because of my pronunciation. Steptoe son. I was deadly as well. And they all go to crap, Daniel. But you know what? The best thing is that some of these shows are available. You can still watch, but unfortunately, a lot of them now are lost with time. You know, I mean, the BBC did successfully reboot Gladiators. I mean, I have to give it to them. You know, I didn't think, I thought somehow they'd find a way of woking it up, but they didn't. I mean, you know, it was good. Gladiators was actually good, and anybody that says it wasn't, well, then you weren't a fan of the classic because, I mean, some of the classic games are there, but they brought in new games, but it's still the same fucking show. Except for one thing, or maybe it was just me because I was small, but it feels like that the wall is a lot fucking smaller. Or was it always that size and it was just because I was a kid and I thought it was bigger than what I imagined it to be. But the wall, for some weird reason, doesn't feel the same as it did back in the day. But maybe that's because I was a kid. Yeah, Wacky Racers, absolutely, man. We get Danger Mouse was classic as well. Yeah, I used to watch Super Ted. We're going into cartoons then. Super Ted, The Animals of Farthing Wood, The Real Ghostbusters, Thundercats. I love Thundercats. He-Man, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Teenage, whatever the fucking, they rebranded it because apparently people in Europe were fucking moany, parents were moany, and they had to change. Yeah, Batfink as well. Dempsey and Makepeace was rerun fairly recently, says Nigel. Count Duckula. Yeah, you had DuckTales as well. Tom and Jerry. Can't forget Tom and Jerry, for fuck's sake. Grew up that Bugs Bunny. Fucking hell. Seriously, we were really spoiled. Then, of course, you had Scooby-Doo. The Jetsons. The Flintstones. Fucking hell. Earthworm Jim. Fucking hell. Remember Earthworm Jim? Banana Man. Jesus. Yeah, we had it all back then. I know. The more we keep naming stuff, the more depressed I'm getting. Fuck's sake. Man, it's mad. It's actually mad. I remember we had educational programs back then as well. It wasn't all just cartoons and stuff. We did have educational stuff as well. Proper, like, good times. When they actually cared to make good stuff. When they actually wanted to put out quality content because they wanted people to come back all the time. See, that's what it was. It's like today's attitude is we'll just throw out any old shite and hope anybody watches. But why not write stuff that's going to bring people back all the time? I mean, you know. Ah, yeah, RTE and RT2, man. Of course, especially RTE, you'd have your religious programs as well because we are a Catholic country or traditionally a Catholic country. So yeah, I used to watch mass and all on the Sundays. If I didn't go to mass, we'd watch mass sometimes. If I was feeling unwell, we'd watch mass on the telly. But most of the time, I went to mass every Sunday. I went to confession during the week. I also sang in the church choir. I was an altar boy for a while, so I was really heavy into my religion. I was very religious at one stage. And the documentaries were great. You had your wildlife, of course. Before David Attenborough started preaching against climate, though, he used to do proper documentaries. But I still watch David Attenborough because even though sometimes he does preach about the odd climate change fucking thing, like his shows do be deadly and his narration. You know, look at well, we grew up watching his wildlife programs, right? We had some in Ireland as well, which I used to love as well. But he was the fella that we all listened to, right? And I watched the recent ones that he did. He came out of retirement to do another one, like, do you know what I mean? And even if he wasn't there physically, like he could do, his narration is very important to these. He's the best narrator of those type of shows. You're never going to ever replace him. No other show will ever be the same. Do you know what I mean? His voice is it's so unique and you can tell he genuinely cares. Like it's just a pity that he's bought into all of the climate nonsense. They can change or take away our shows, but they can't take our memories. Well, that's what I said earlier. And you'll have those stories as well with people that you shared these shows with and special moments. You know, there'll be a particular TV show or a movie and you'll remember a special moment that you either had for family or friends. Do you know what I mean? Did anyone watch Threads from 1984? Traumatizing. I don't know. I'll have to Google that there now and see. If I recognise the people in it, and I'll be able to tell you if I did. Look, my parents were very. My parents were into most of the stuff. There it is, war sci-fi. That's it. It's a film. Oh no, it says it's a war drama television film. Okay, produced by the BBC. Let's see the poster. Oh, the poster looks familiar. I don't know. I might have to check that out. Written by Barry Hines, directed by Mick Jackson. It only had a budget of 400,000. Wow. Jesus, it's after getting some good ratings as well. I don't know. The poster looks familiar, right? But I'm not going to sit here and say I definitely think I saw this. Um, I don't know. I'll have to go back. I'll take a look. I'll put that on my list. I'll put that on my list. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's after getting 4.5 or 4.4 or 92 out of 100, and as I said, 4.4 stars. I mean, so 4.5 stars, so nearly 5 stars. So there you go. Must be good. So that thing's called Threads, folks. So I'll put it in there if you want to, just the name of it. If you want to go and Google it and maybe check it out. It's after getting 4.5 stars. That means that, because remember, critics back then are not like critics today, right? They would have actually been fair and gave a balanced view of movies. Just like your man, what was his name that used to do, what was it, Nigel, whatever his fucking face was, a film. What was that called again? Some people will know who I'm talking about. Yeah, traumatized the fucking generation. Wow, we'll have to take a look at that. Around the Twist, anyone? Said Ritz in Time. If anybody knows that show or movie, maybe. I don't know what it is. Let's see. I'll have a look. See, some of these names now are over me head, so let's have a look. Have I seen this Round the Twist? Australian comedy, 1990. I don't know. Some of these faces actually look familiar. Maybe. I'm not sure. It was a realistic portrayal of what would happen after a nuke. Yeah, well, we're probably getting. We probably all need to start watching that fucking movie now, won't we? I remember Round the Twist Australian, wasn't it? But the BBC showed it. Well, if the BBC showed it, I've probably seen it because I watched Bread also on BBC and other stuff that was there. So maybe. But look, I'm gonna leave it there, folks, for the evening. You know, I wanted to do it now because it's still nice out, and we're going to get Teddy's exercise. Not right, you little fucker. Because you know these days, the best days to get out there and a bit of a walk. You know, yesterday I filmed the Swans. I was going to throw the footage up on the channel, but I don't know if anybody wants me to throw up a video of me filming fucking swans. But I've got the footage there. If you want me to do it, I'll throw it up. But I actually filmed a swan feeding. Fascinating stuff, actually. You know, they get their head straight down into the water, and then their whole body turns down, straight down. It's actually fascinating watching it. So yeah, I have that footage. So if you want me to throw it up, I'll throw it up. Let me know before I leave here. But yeah, look, we haven't long now, and by Monday we'll have the overnights. Now, it'll be interested to see how. See, again, releasing the two of them is a bit coy, really, because the overnights is going to be very interesting. Ted, be quiet, please, buddy. As you can hear him streaming. Okay, I know there's people outside, but you see, that's what happens when it's sunny, buddy. Right, so people are going to be walking past, and you know this because you're living here a long time now. So less of the barking, and let me finish. Thank you. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this. But again, you know, it's irrelevant really what the overnights are, because you know not everybody has hopes that this is going to do well anyway. So as I said, the main focus should be RTD and how his writing is. Yeah, he's fine. He's just he just doesn't like anybody walking past. He thinks he owns the complex. So when he sees someone walking by, he gets a bit annoyed because he's like, "That's my play area. Don't be walking around in my area." I just want to say, people like Noel, Gary from Neurotic and Ballstreck are heroes to us. Keep fighting the good fight. We're with you. Seems a lot of people here remember Threads. I'm so sorry for you. Well, I'm Irish, so I mean, I did watch some stuff. But I wouldn't have got it all. But I'll check it out. And then when I do, I'll let you know what I thought of it. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, we will leave it there, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon or wherever you are in the world, and look after yourselves and take care. And the squirrel is back as well. Oh, I got some footage of the squirrel as well, by the way. So if you want me to throw that up, there he is again. He's on the fucking fence there. Hold on, I'm gonna get this little video here. Just bear with me for 1 second. Oh no, he's climbing down. Oh, you listen. Anyway, I've got footage of the squirrel as well. So if you want me, do you know what, Fecka? I'll just throw them up, right? If you watch them, you watch them. If you don't, you don't, right? But I've got footage of the squirrel that lives here as well, and I've got footage of the swans that I took as well. So yeah, I'll throw them up for you now in a few minutes. Just bear with me. Anyway, look, we'll leave it there for now. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow. I will let you know in the community chat, the community tab on the channel, what the story is tomorrow, if I'm going live tomorrow or not. And then we'll go from there. Anyway, until then, have a good one. Look after yourselves and take care. Bye bye.